Hi, I'm DG-Ice, and this deck is a monstrosity. We're playing Seismitoad, Feraligtr, Garbodor, and Jirachi. And with that, 42 trainers to support them. This deck was my attempt to try and find a way to use Archie's Ace in the hole. I was super excited about this card, but it turns out to be a lot harder to use than I thought. Don't get me wrong, putting a Stage 2 or a Mega Evolution out is still a super powerful ability, and I'm sure we're going to find a way to use it eventually. One thing I learned during testing was that you don't want to have to rely on Archie's Ace in the hole to bring out too many Pokemon. It just takes too many turns to set up. Therefore, I recommend only using Archie's Ace to bring back either the support Pokemon or the attacker, and not both. I considered using Wailord-EX as the attacker in this deck because of its huge HP, but it lacks in a few areas. One is it requires a massive amount of energies, so resetting up that many energies each time pretty much means you're going to need like a washout Blastoise and a Keldeo. And then its attack only does 120, so even if we added like Muscle Band for 20 and then like Hypnotoxic Laser plus Virbank for another 30, that's only 170 damage, so we're still missing out on a lot of common EXs. I ended up going with Seismitoad-Ex for its Grenade Hammer attack. That's the one that costs 3 energies and deals 130 damage. Being able to deal 130 damage is important because once you add 20 from Muscle Band plus another 30 from a Hypnotoxic Laser, you can one-hit KO any EX with 180 HP, which is, most of them. So that's a very important aspect. Of course, the Quaking Punch attack was no small part. It really allows you to set up and stall the game while you're getting that final energy or you're getting your Muscle Band out. Garbodor is really important in this deck to be able to shut down cards like Pyroar so that way our Seismitoad-Ex can attack through. But it also allows us to really shut down what our opponent's doing in combination with cards like Loss Remover and Seismitoad's Quaking Punch attack to shut down their trainers. Additionally, Garbodor doesn't shut down Feraligtr's Pokepower, since it's a Pokepower and not an ability, which allows us to use our support Pokemon while stopping our opponents. Our draw support looks really shaky with only 4 Professor Sycamore and 4 Archie-Ace in the hole, especially since we can't use Archie's Ace if we don't have the right cards to set it up with. In the early game, though, we have 4 Ultra Balls plus 2 Jirachis to smooth over our draws. But then we can't really count on those in the late game since we'll either already have used the Jirachis or have shut down all abilities with Garbotoxin. In the late game, however, we'll have 2 VS Seekers plus 4 Junk Arms to get things back since they'll all be in the discard pile. Additionally, we have 4 Bicycle and 3 Acro Bike. In combination with Junk Arm, they really allow us to tear through our deck in an unprecedented manner. The Bicycles are so efficient at digging through a deck that I've had to use Lysandre's trump card twice in a single game because I drew all my cards twice. Because we can dig through our deck so fast and because we have Junk Arm to get things back from the discard pile, we're able to have reliable access to most of the support trainers in our deck. Archie's Ace in the hole definitely affected how I built this deck. You wanted to be able to use cards to manipulate your hand size, such as Ultra Ball and Junk Arm, since you can find something and then play it or even search for nothing if you have to. Additionally, Professor's letter is huge in this way that you can search for 2, 1, or 0 cards. Using similar logic, I was playing Crushing Hammer just to have a card that I could get out of my hand easily while slowing down my opponent. But I found that Crushing Hammer didn't really affect the game in a meaningful way and never really helped out as much as it should have for taking up a card slot in my deck. Loss Remover, however, was the real deal, being able to remove a special energy every time I used it, Also, we kind of have a weakness against special energies since we can shut down pretty much anything else they do between abilities and trainer cards. Putting the special energy in the loss zone with loss remover is a huge deal because we use Lysandre's trump card at least once per game. So looking at the current game, first we knocked out their Seismitoad, then they knocked out ours. But the real advantage came when we were able to set up a Seismitoad the following turn to knock out their Evital. And as you can see, they weren't able to set up an EX on their turn to fight back. So here's where lies the real advantage of having Rain Dance Feraligtr just sitting on the bench, is that we're able to set up a fresh EX and continue battling while our opponent, is really tight on resources and obviously can't do that. We even have the max potion, so even if our opponent was able to put something together here, we could simply heal off the damage and reattach some energies to hit them back at full health. This is the semifinals of my first Archie's challenge, and the next clip is of the finals of this challenge, but I wanted to talk a little longer, so I'm also going to throw in the finals of another Archie's challenge. Our opponent makes the dangerous play of passing the turn with a single Pokemon, which is definitely something you want to avoid in the unlimited format. So in this situation, I'm thinking if I Ultra Ball for Feraligtr, then I can discard the Feraligtr while junk arming back the Ultra Ball, and then I'll barely have enough cards, but I'll use Bicycle to draw me a few more cards so I can discard them to Ultra Ball and search for Jirachi-Ex and use Jirachi-Ex to get Archie's Ace in the Hole, bring back Feraligtr, and hopefully with the 5 cards I draw off of Archie's Ace in the Hole, I'll be able to attach 3 energies to Seismitoad-Ex and win the game. In reviewing my play, I definitely made some suboptimal choices. For instance, I knew I was going to be able to keep 1 card, so I kept the Virbank, even though I probably should have kept an energy and attached it to the Seismitoad. The way I played it only left open one very rare, minuscule opportunity, which is if we had drawn Muscle Band, Laser, and Energy Retrieval, so I could get back the energy from my discard pile, and I could attach Muscle Band, and I could use Hypnotoxic Laser to deal exactly 130 damage and knock out this Reshiram, where what I should have really been doing was just focusing on getting 3 energies attached to Seismitoad-Ex. Here though, we see the power of Acro helping me overcome my mistake and getting that 3rd energy to knock out their Reshiram. I like deck building more than I like actually playing the game, but I know there are some people who really enjoy playing the game and making tough decisions in it, and for those people, they're going to love this deck because this deck is full of choices and math and complicated puzzles. For example, there might be 10 paths to activate Archie's Ace in the Hole, and you need to choose which one based on which cards you want left over. One of the obvious examples of decision making in this deck is Acro. I'm surprised I haven't heard more people excited about Acro because it's a great card for competitive play. It makes your deck technically smaller, it lets you choose which card you want, and lets you put cards in the discard pile. When playing this deck, you also have to develop the good habit of knowing exactly what's in your deck and what's in your prize cards, and what's left in your deck. Because if you run out of ways to get back Lysandre's trump card, you could lose the game by running out of cards very easily. Because say you play 2 Lysandre's trump cards, plus 2 VS Seeker, plus 4 junk arms, that's only 8 ways to get it back. So if all of those end up in your discard pile, you've basically got a limited number of turns left to win with very few resources. The versions of this deck I played in this video are certainly not top threats to unlimited, but with a little more tuning and maybe some new cards, it certainly could be. For future versions of this deck, I think it's pretty safe to cut down to 3 Archie's Ace in the Hole and probably go up to 2 Lysandre's trump card. I'm not sure whether Lysandre or Pokemon Catcher is best in this deck, but I know with Lysandre at least it works every time. We can get it back with VS Seeker, and we can search it out with Jirachi. Furthermore, I would consider cutting one loss remover for a second switch or a second copy of Virbank City Gym. Well, that's all for this deck, but here's a link to the top threats in Unlimited playlist, and here's a link to a comprehensive video explanation of what makes Unlimited different from Extended. Alright, see you guys at the Unlimited tournaments. Alright, see you guys at the Unlimited tournament.